Refuel, rest and take refreshments with the Services Podcast, your service station companion. This week the team are at Donington Park.
Here we are at Services Podcast episode 5, and we are off the beaten track a little bit because we've actually come off the M1 motorway.
Only very slightly though.
Only very slightly. Rob is here too.
Hello.
We both made it. Sorry, I'm being distracted by the talking, vibrating chairs that are behind me that go which sound like either somebody who's in a Terry Waite hostage situation is muffled trying to scream out to the authorities, or a robotic talking
massage chair,
or Charlie Brown's teacher.
Oh, it does sound like Charlie Brown's, a less like angry Charlie Brown's teacher.
Wah, 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 wah.
Charlie Brown's teacher in the staff room afterwards that we never got to see, just relaxing with her pals.
Anyway, we are at Donington Park Services. Donington Park Services is kind of situated, as I say, off the beaten track, off a main motorway thoroughfare, and to me, it's like a sort of airport holding lounge. It's kind of, we've come through passport control, we've arrived, we've taken a look at the cheeky shops that are there. You know, is it a good passport holding lounge?
I think there's a bomb in the airport.
Yeah, well, it's just saying that if you leave your baggage unattended, they will blow it up. It's just one of those announcements. So it's kind of a bit like an airport.
It reminds me of like a food court, something like that, because it's like a big hall with just a load of chairs in the middle, and then kind of different, there's Burger King, there's
shops on the outer side. It's like a hangar.
Yeah.
It's shaped like a hangar. There's windows at one end of the hangar, windows at the other, where the hangar doors would be, where the planes would be coming into, which now makes it not like an airport. It's like where the planes hang out. And then on the right and left are two sides of a hotel, and you can actually see people's windows to look down on the people using the services. And the hotel is I want to say Lucky Coin, but that's not. It's not the Lucky Coin. That's the arcade. There is a Ladbrokes here, which is our first betting venue at a service station.
Oh, I missed that. Do you think because it's put right next to the Lucky Coin arcade, do you think they sort of see each other as competition and rivals?
I've never seen a service station with 3 betting establishments, as you say. Lucky Coin arcade right next door to Ladbrokes. Then separating the Full House arcade, house with the slash through it, through the S, making it look like a dollar sign, is the phone shop with all kinds of phone things. And then there's a third sort of little betting area there with the bandits in, a £500 cash pot.
It does intrigue me actually. As you say, in between the Lucky Coin and the Full House, there is Phone Bits, which is like a sort of a high-end electrical store. And I just wonder how many people who are like, I just need to go to Donington, I'll pull into services, need to get some petrol. Oh, I'll tell you what, while I'm here, I'll spend £550 on an iPad. How often does that happen?
Can you buy it? I can see that you can buy various different sat-navs there, but can you buy iPads from there?
Yep, iPads, iPhones, sat-navs. You can get like mobile phone covers. You can get rally helmets.
Rally helmets, just what you need, isn't it? Maybe you've just...
if you're late for work.
Exactly, you're late for work, you didn't think to put on your helmet when you're travelling down the M1 at 90 miles an hour. I guess those motorbike people, they do tend to break the speed limit. Yeah. You think, hang on, touching up on his forehead with his leather gloves. I've not got my helmet. I was going to call it a hat then, which is obviously, that I'm not a motorbiker. Oh, I'm going to stop off and grab one.
Or potentially, you stop at the services, you stay too long, and you think, oh my God, I'm going to actually have to cane it to work now. And so you buy yourself a rally helmet and drive like a rally driver.
There is something free and easy about this service station. I feel at ease, I feel very relaxed here. When we were at Tip Shelf last time round, there was a very sort of depressive atmosphere, an atmosphere of I want to get out, whereas from here, I can see a nice vista out the back of the services onto trees, because this is, as you know, the gateway to the New Forest. Now, if you take a look back at Service Station Podcast Episode 2 to the Leicester Forest East podcast, you'll also know that is also a gateway to the New Forest. So that basically means that service stations are the entry points to the New Forest.
They're the gatekeepers. They're like I saw a film recently about when the Romans had settled in what did they used to call Britain? Britannia? And anyway, there were various on Hadrian's Wall. There was a big tower place, and that was essentially the service station of its day, and that was the gateway to Scotland. And this is a very poor analogy that's falling apart, and I'm struggling to keep it alive. But.
You can tell that way I've sort of backed into the corner and just let you go for it.
Yeah. But I was worried this podcast wouldn't go ahead. There are several stumbling blocks.
Why?
Well,
Why?
I'm not going to do these in chronological order of when they came apparent. I'm going to do them almost in terms of just how threatening they were to the safety.
Does a tooth or some kind of teeth aspect fall into this?
How do you know that?
Because I've been sort of following your tweets. You've tweeted twice about molars. That's all I know.
Well, first of all, as we were driving up the M1, it did keep saying massive tailbacks, huge caution, massive queues on the junction that we were heading to. So I was thinking, potentially I'm going to say, because when they say slight queue, that's actually quite a big queue, and that's about half an hour. Major delays is you could be in there for 2 hours sometimes. So I was thinking, oh God, we're not even going to get there to do the podcast. And then, so this was in the last half an hour. But then, basically yesterday, I was just brushing my teeth. It was I'd gone to bed. It was about 11:10, brushing my teeth, and then one of my teeth just broke. One of my molars back here, back right, Mr. Righty. He just snapped, the top just snapped clean off him. Ironically, as I was cleaning my teeth, trying to help the little fella out, and it just broke clean off. And I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I was terrified to touch it, because have you seen, what's the film with Dustin Hoffman in, and the horrible dentist, and he gets at the nerves in the teeth? Marathon Man? Yeah. And also I knew there's kind of nerves going on there, and I didn't want to touch it with my tongue in case of excruciating pain. They get like war secrets out of him, don't they? So I thought, I don't want to go through that. So I actually had to go and wake my mother up and ask her advice, and she was like, oh, it's fine, you've just broken your teeth. And so I had to go to an emergency dentist this morning, and then luckily someone had pulled, otherwise I thought I might not be able to do it at all, because I couldn't really talk, and I couldn't eat, and I didn't want, cold drinks.
So what happened? How come you've made this miraculous recovery?
Well, then I went to the dentist, and just at the last minute, someone, as I was walking out, and they were like, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks before we can see you. Someone pulled out, and so 4 o'clock became available, and I had to go and sit in, and so I was like, oh, thank God the podcast is saved. So I went and sat in, they drilled the hell out of my tooth. It's like there is nothing left of it.
Can you show me your tooth?
Hey, here.
Well, there's a gap. That one. Yeah, I can see that.
I've got a big filling in there now. So I was thinking, the podcast's back on track, thank God. And then they went, oh, by the way, it might take up to 4 or 5 hours for the anaesthetic to wear off. I couldn't feel any of my mouth.
That would have been brilliant, though.
No, because I couldn't speak. Blah, blah, blah.
That would have been hilarious.
It would have been you talking, me going, blah, 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 blah. It would have just been like that. And then I'd be trying to drink, and it'd just be dribbling down my face. It'd be horrible.
It would be awesome. From my point of view, it would be very funny. Anyway, so obviously, you recovered.
I recovered, so it looks like the podcast gods are sort of smiling kindly on it.
I thought he was going to say, it looks like the podcast's on. Yes, it is.
It is on, baby. So there we go. So there's a nice little interlude. Well, not interlude, like a prelude to this podcast. There was peril, there was... What's it called? What do they say in film trailers when they're like...
Mild peril.
There's mild peril, and there's a jeopardy as well. There's these stupid buzzwords.
Marks and Spencer... You popped in there, you've had some food. I've popped in WH Smith twice. I went in first to go and get some batteries. Good news on the battery front, I got 4 for 4. So that means I got 8 batteries for the price of 4 of the bunny variety, and they were under a £5. Granted, 1p under a £5, but I got 8, so that's amazing. That means I've got 2 lots of podcast energy juice things. Anyway, and then I went up and she said, would you like some Galaxy? I said, no, I don't want any Galaxy. Bars of chocolate that they've got there. So I some Galaxy set. No, not into the Galaxy. Thank you very much. Anyways, 5 minutes later, I go in and buy a paper, because there was a paper that came out today that was full of gold, and we're going to use some of that later on. And then I went to the same woman, and she's trying to ply a trade on the Galaxy again. 5 minutes later, I've already said no. I'm not wearing a disguise like Peter Sellers, in Inspector Clouseau or something.
It's hungry work. She must think, this guy's up and down. He doesn't know. Also, the fact you've been there twice in 5 minutes, she must have thought this guy doesn't know what he wants. I'll try the Galaxy again.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. But I take that as a big plus point. Very attentive staff.
Very, yeah.
And she brought down the 4 pack of batteries, and I'm thinking, no, I asked for 4, not the 4 times 4, not 8.
Well,
she went, but look, she showed me the deal. Whereas before I was now going, no, 4, not 8, you crazy lady.
Yeah.
But she ushered me in the right direction.
But that was only because she was buttering you up to try and get you. I think she's on commission for the Galaxies. So she was buttering you up to try and get you to the Galaxy.
The Services Podcast with Ian Watkins and Rob Howard. From Watford Gap to Toddington, Strensham to Woodall, the only service station podcast you need.
You want to know some facts, don't you?
Oh, I love this bit.
Now, this used to be owned by Granada and actually opened in 1999, but now is in the hands of the Motto Group. Is it Moto or Motto? How would you say that?
Moto, I'd say Moto.
And the Moto Group, this is the second time we visited a Moto service station. The first one, if you remember way back at podcast number 1, was Travel Services.
Oh, good times. Memories. Can we
of your mind. Are we stopping singing now?
Can we maybe just clip in a little excerpt from episode 1 in between that memory singing? Memory.
Maybe, we'll see. Do you want the actual memory song there as well from Barbra Streisand?
Take it. I prefer my version, if I'm honest.
I prefer Barbara's.
Each their own.
Anyways, Donington Park shares its name with the Donington Park race circuit, which is very close to here, which is where they used to race cars and F1 and things like that, yeah. And then they dug it up for some reason, and they were going to get F1, and then eventually they didn't get F1 or something like that. We don't want to go into the whole breakdown of what happened there. Also, it's situated in the parish of Long Watton and Dysworth, just in case you want to know. Anyway, so it's originally a Granada station, and it was the first one to offer a whole set of non-food shops similar to an airport. Hence the reason why it looks like an airport, which is now adopted as standard. So this, my friend, is a record-breaking service station in this country. There never used to be these kinds of shops around. There never used to be a Ladbroke, so you could do some serious gambling when you came to have a stop-off.
Is that the most interesting fact?
You'll like this one because you've worked on Radio 1.
Wow.
Well, you have. Back in April 2008, one of your heroes, Greg James,
this is where he did a show from here, didn't he? I remember hearing it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, was it from here?
It was from here. So tell us about that show, because I didn't hear that show. Because I can't
remember because it's.
I don't listen to Radio 1.
It's
I listen to Classic FM.
in Saga.
Saga doesn't exist anymore. So
no, but you taped all the old episodes, and he just listens back to old Saga episodes.
That's what I did.
I can't really remember what happened. I just remember him talking to. It was almost as if it was almost.
That's somebody moving bread, by the way.
I can't really remember because it's about 3 or 4 years ago now. When did it say it was?
2008.
2008, yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. So I seem to remember it was just a little bit like this podcast, but much more professional.
Harsh but fair. And also, apparently, it was an integral part of Newsnight's 2010 general election coverage because people came here to vote.
Did they?
No, they didn't.
No,
I made that up. I saw his puzzled face. Basically, it set up home in the Travelodge. So this is a Travelodge on both sides of the thoroughfare. There's tables in the middle. There's a Bob the Builder tractor. I don't know what the tractor's name is. Daisy or something like that. Off the top of my head, is that the tractor?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm more of a hoops man.
Hey, that fantastic hoops bus they used to drive around in. Who could forget that? What else? This is all good. You see, as soon as I said that Greg James has done a show here, your face lit up. Oh, I remember it. Let me tell you all about it. Oh, it was just like he was in the service state. You can even remember it.
Well, there's only so much you can do. I seem to remember he just talked to people in the service station and just did a show and was just essentially like, "This is Greg James. Here's the Arctic Monkeys."
Why did he do it in the service station though? Do you remember why?
Novelty value, I think. Novelty value, and also because it's the early breakfast show, isn't it? So, when I did my I did my show, which I won. Then I was doing that slot. You were told you're kind of targeting truck drivers and early commuters and overnight haulers and things like that.
In essence, could you say that Greg James was almost like a godfather of this podcast?
Well,
although I didn't know he'd done this, by the way.
Because that implies that he's still, if you're a godfather, you have to be sworn into it. It implies that he knows about this podcast, and not only that, he's a supporter and a champion of it.
Well, maybe you need to tell him about it. Maybe he could be our champion. At the moment, the download rates are shocking.
Don't bring up the downloads.
Shocking. Now, we're either a very, very small cult living somewhere in Minnesota in the US of A, or the podcast is rubbish. I'm sort of going to the former rather than the latter.
Yeah.
We're just cult, man. We're like Red Dwarf.
And look what happened to that. What did happen to that?
They're making
successful,
I think they're making a new series, aren't they?
Yeah. Although none of them went on to achieve anything else, did they really? Craig Charles did Robot Wars.
And Coronation Street.
Wow.
In early June every year, you're right, got a bit of windy pops.
Again,
Probably
every
episode.
Every episode.
Because you gulp down that food like some kind of man possessed. Does your mother never feed you?
Well, no, I have to eat before every podcast because we always do it at 7 o'clock. Because you eat at like just an unthinkably early time. You have dinner at like 5:30, don't you? Which is ludicrous.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Whereas, you know, dinner should be between 7 and 8.
You're more of a European style guy. I'm more of a like, bang, it's tea time, let's do it. Kind of English guy.
I'm like a sort of Italian stallion sort of fella. Goes to work, has a siesta, makes love to a beautiful woman, or myself, and then has dinner.
And chows down and gets it all round his face.
Is it round my face?
Yeah.
How about this wasn't even
It's
a
on your
sloppy.
chin. It's on your chin there.
Do you know why I couldn't feel that? It's because my chin's still the chin's still bloody numb from the operation.
It's not an operation.
It is an operation.
Well, hang on, you didn't go in there and like have your bloody heart pulled out
They
and
were
put in a new
using
one.
drills. They were using all sorts. I've been through the mill.
It's not a heart transplant. It's going to the dentist. Anyway, every June, every year, the service station becomes a popular location for people from all over Europe.
That's good.
Why is that?
Because it's near. No, New Forest. I don't know.
Yeah, because in early June, everybody comes to the New Forest.
Well,
through the
why
gateway.
else are they coming to bloody
It's
Donington?
a download festival.
Is it Donington?
Yeah.
Service station?
Not here, not actually in here. AC/DC did not play at this table.
Over by the Lucky Coin stage. Now on the M&S new music stage. We've got the Killers. And Barbara filling in on drums. She's usually a cashier, but the Arctic Monkeys drummer has fallen ill.
And her dress is made out of galaxy bars.
yeah.
What chic. Anyways, there you go. I think this has got credentials. This is the first service station that has had any sort of kind of pizzazz since Leicester Forest East and the old everything on the bridge.
Well,
sort
not
of
only
factor.
that, it's got celebrity exposure, really, hasn't it? I mean, I don't know many other service stations that have had a national broadcast from it, as well as a festival right next to it. Unbelievable.
And it was the first one to have the shops.
This is like, we've hit the gold, the jackpot here. I feel almost humbled to be sat here doing a podcast.
And it's got vibrating chairs.
It has got a vibrator. Are you going to have a go on the vibrating chair later?
Maybe a little bit later on.
Touch me in the services.
Right, okay, this is the story here, which is to do with muckers at work. Muckers.
Muckers.
That's the headline.
Mother mucker.
Mother muckers. Maybe they should have used that headline. Almost half of all blokes wear a dirty tie for work. 6 out of 10 regularly turn up wearing stained or smelly clothes. Which when you worked with me, you used to do that. You're one of those 6 out of 10.
I remember coming in one day and I was very smelly, to the point of where the young lady who used to read the news refused to come into the studio until I left, deodorised.
There was one time I arrived, this was on a Saturday, and he was all feeling summery, so he'd come in his little shorts.
It was really hot that day.
And his flip-flops, and he stunk out the whole of the studio with his smelly, stinky, cheesy feet. And then I went in, almost passed out. And
They weren't that bad.
And then he was offended by the fact that I was wafting the door, saying, "You are a degenerate."
Because I was
put
trying to
your
do a
shoes
show
on."
and I had Ian there like a little monkey man, just wafting the door.
2/3 of young adults, both men and women, admit they have been to a job interview wearing something dirty. Now, have you been to a job interview wearing something dirty?
Does a dirty mind count, Ian? Because
You're always wearing one of those.
I don't think so, no.
Filthy Brits, that's what we're being called,
Filthy.
are not even embarrassed, according to a survey of 1,500 people, which I don't think is a big enough sample of a
Not enough,
survey.
no. They could have just been interviewing particularly filthy 1,500 people.
Really dirty ones.
Grotty. They could have been interviewing 1,500 tramps.
Or Stig of the Dump lookalikes.
Yeah.
Welshmen are the worst culprits,
Doesn't
who are
surprise me.
particularly filthy, followed by East Anglians. By the way, I have Welsh heritage. Obviously,
So do I, I'm
Watkins.
half Welsh.
It all fits into
I
place.
find that deeply offensive.
East Anglians came second. I used to live in Norwich, and Londoners were third. Some of the but the thing is, though, when you're living in a city, you just pick up grime anyway, don't you? They say that your nose, nostrils, your bogies turn black if you live in a city.
I did not know that. So back to the dirty tie situation.
You don't even. I've never seen you wear a tie. Actually, no. I tell a lie. I've seen a picture of you wearing a tie.
Yeah, I
that's
very
about as
rarely.
far as it goes.
I very rarely wear them. I think the last time I wore a suit was about 8 months ago. The last time before that was about 3 years ago, something like that. Never needed to. I'm just a chilled out entertainer. I didn't need a tie. Whoa. Keep your tie to yourself, Grandad. Whereas you used to dress yourself up every day in a little tie and suit. And he used to cut an almost tragic figure as I used to walk in at 6 in the morning. And you looked exhausted but really smart at the same time.
There is another story as well. Actually, like a broken man, like a man who didn't really need to be wearing a suit because he works in radio. Nobody can bloody see him. He's still wearing a suit.
Still hanging in there.
He's still hanging in there, wearing a suit, saying yes to the corporate man and sucking on the teat of business.
Where's this other story?
The other story that I've got here for Touch Me in the Morning is about school reunions, and fears about people looking old at school reunions has led to people taking drastic measures.
Like what?
Like going under the knife because of school reunions. Because they don't want to go and then, like Harry, say, "Cool, crikey, you're looking old."
Oh man, yeah. I've always thought like I would love a school reunion, but I only left school about 3 years ago. I imagine when you...
I bloody love a school reunion. I only left a week ago. Brilliant.
I imagine if you were like 40, you'd be very conscious about what your peers think as well, because, you know, inevitably there'd be one guy who was like, you know, millionaire, something like that, or potentially famous, and you'd be there, you know, just like, I haven't got any money. Oh, did you? Oh, so what happened to you, Rob? Well, I tried to do a career in radio and that fell on its ass, and I've been chronically unemployed ever since.
No, you're a part-time ice cream seller.
I'm a part-time selling ice creams, all right. And then the only way the conversation
would
can
you
go
like
next
a shot, guys?
is they go, what's your favourite flavour of ice cream? And I go, ironically, I hate ice cream. I hate my job. And they'll go, okay, we're going to go and talk to Gary.
I thought you were a vanilla man, because that is the ultimate in bland, isn't it? Like, what's your favourite ice cream? I'm a vanilla guy.
Well,
it's like, God, you're in ice cream. You work with all the, you know, tutti frutti, you know, all the rest of them, pistachio. But you say, I work with vanilla.
It'd be
which
like
is very one-sided.
It would be like having it's like having a skinny chef, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, come on, eat the bloody food, chef.
Or...
Well, you don't like your own food? Get eating the food before we start giving it to anybody out there in the restaurant. We want you to be a fat chef. If you're not fat, you're out the door. Anyway, where are we? So you would like to go along when you're 40. Would you wear the ice cream on your face to...
What, am I definitely now in a career in ice cream?
I can see you in 10 years' time working at the Giuseppe stand.
I would arrive at the reunion in the ice cream car with the music playing.
Just go, Rob, please, can I press your button and play the chimes? No, you can't, Cynthia.
It took me 4 years of training to be qualified enough to press that bloody button. You think I'm going to let any old loose woman up here pressing my button, trying to tempt me into relations in the back of my van? No, thank you.
It's hot and sweaty next to the wafers and the hundreds and thousands.
That's the thing about reunions, though, isn't it? Is this where the story's going? The fear is everyone has...
50% of people who go to a reunion end up sleeping
with their ex-girlfriend.
With their ex-girlfriend or boyfriend.
Does it say that?
It doesn't say that. I made that up. No, this is basically just about people and their looks. Apparently, it's people aged between 25 and 35 who are having these reunions, so I'm in that bracket.
Yeah, just about.
I'm in that bracket, and I'm not going to rise to that. I'm in that bracket, and I'm saying that I should be getting a bit of the Botox and some cosmetic procedures.
What would you have done?
I've seen
penis enlargement.
Well, nobody's going to see that, are they? It's not like you're going to walk in with it dangling out.
Well, it depends how big you're going. If it's just unavoidable, it's like an elephant's
trunk. Look at this, Anne. Come over here, have a look at this. Look how it's grown. Oh, crikey, you can swing that over your shoulder like a military soldier.
And there's me in my ice cream van going, I can't compete with that.
We didn't go to the same school. I don't know what I was going to say then now. You've really thrown me aside.
I've said, what would you have? What cosmetics
yeah, that's it. I don't know whether you've seen recently, they've done this whole new line of face jobs for people, you know, whole new faces, face transplants.
You'd have a face transplant? That's pretty drastic, isn't it?
I do the whole thing. When I see some of the befores and afters of those, they're people who've had obviously horrible incidents and they've not got much of their face.
They're not good.
They've not had much of their
face. They come out looking like David Guest melted.
But they come out though with a different face.
So you'd want to look like that?
You want to spook them out a bit.
You want to come looking like...
Seeing? No, it's not.
Oh God, that would be terrifying. It's like that scene in Silence of the Lambs where he steals someone else's...
The Services Podcast with Watko and Tiny Rob.
Now, I'm sat in the position to receive a massage from the massage chair, and I have to say there was a massive nodule bit digging into my back.
That's it. Just not that close.
Sorry.
You were just getting all excited.
It's digging into my back. I don't see how this, because I imagine this nodule's just going to move up and down. I imagine this is not going to be very comfortable.
Are you going to put yours in at the same time?
Oh, here we go. Oh, hang on.
Mine didn't work.
Oh no, I'm going. Oh God, this isn't comfy. Oh!
I put mine in yours. I've given you 2 lots.
Have you really? Yeah. We'll have to swap over. God, I was going to say, it's 6 minutes I've got. Oh wow.
I can't believe I just put it in your chair. That's ridiculous.
Thanks very much. I've got a mysterious benefactor. Oh man, that's actually quite good, you know. I slagged it off. Oh yeah. Oh, that's not so good. It's kind
I've not
of digging.
got any more change now.
We'll just swap over after 3 minutes. Oh,
okay.
It's jiggling me. Hello, you. We'll swap over after 3 minutes. Oh God, you can see my belly jiggling. That's nice.
I feel a bit left out here.
This reminds me of that time I stopped off at the Thai massage parlour. I wonder if there's a...
Hang on. Have we seen any of these before in a service station?
Bloody hell, it's going to town on my, my shoulder area.
Well, I wonder what you're going to say then.
yeah, that would remind me of the Thai massage parlour. No, it's good, it's nice, I like it. Oh, it's jiggling me again. Hello. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, it starts off nice and then it kind of gets intense. Oh. Oh, yes. Oh, this is nice. It's very hit and miss. I don't know who they designed this for, but... Because it's kind of targeting the spine area at the moment, which is a risky game to play. Oh. How much? I think it's I've got about a minute left of this, and then you're jumping on.
No, it's my turn.
I'm jiggling again. Hello. Ah, it's when it goes to the mid-back region that it becomes quite uncomfortable. And I have to say as well, it's only the back stuff that's doing anything. The seated area isn't actually... I thought it might give me a little arse
How is
rub.
this entertaining, by the way? How is this entertaining, listening to you being jiggled about on a chair? Oh, that's nice.
Some people might like this kind of thing.
Somebody be out there going, what? I don't want to hear him enjoying himself.
Oh, I'm not enjoying myself. Ow. Oh, I've got 20 seconds after this. Bloody hell. Was it £1 this cost? Oh.
10, 9,
Ow.
8, 7, 6.
It feels like 5, a massage is being
4,
administered by an elephant.
3, 2, 1, 0. It's my turn now.
Go on.
This is horrible. I'll tell you that right now.
No, there are little snatches of nice bits.
This is appalling.
It's.
Oh, the arse! I don't want to do the arse.
Is it doing your arse? Have you changed the setting?
This is weird. It's going up my back and sort of grabbing hold of it like a predator type movement.
It's like a massage if the masseuse had lost his hands and just had stumps. And had no depth perception either, so didn't know when to stop pressing. You look it looks like it's done the opposite of relaxing you. You look even more uptight. Now you look like Dr. Zoidberg.
This is ridiculous. Just right on
Talk me through what's happening. What's happening.
I'm getting some sort of... There's like 2 prongs of the back that are working... I think one of them has just done me a mischief, actually. There's 2 prongs working their way up the back to the top of my back now on the left-hand right side.
Are they jiggling or rubbing?
They're kind of like just sort of squeezing in and out.
Right, okay. How's that making you feel?
It's making me feel a bit violated.
Just you wait till you start jiggling. There we go, here comes the jiggle. Thoughts on the jiggling?
I'm all right now because I've been distracted because I've actually got... I've actually got... On the right hand side of my back, I think I've got some issues, which are hurting.
Ooh,
I think it's found something.
That's good. What, like it's found tension that's been locked away?
Yeah.
A pocket of tension.
And it's
aggravating it.
It's doing its dirty work. Do you know what? They're going to have machines for doing other things soon.
In a service station foyer?
I don't think those machines would be allowed in a service station foyer, but trust me, if they can do this, they can do anything.
Well, my mind is boggling now.
I've
got you jiggling.
33 seconds left in this.
In the last 30 seconds, sum up your experience. But bearing in mind you paid £1 for this, you've got a grimace on your face.
I'm impressed they've got the chairs. I'm never ever going to go on one of these ever again in my life.
The Services Podcast Turning Wheel Review.
So last week we had the disappointment of Tip Shelf, which was, what did we give it in the end? 3.5, 4?
I think I gave it a higher mark, which brought it up to something like 5.5.
5.5.
Or 5 or something like that. I can't remember.
I think we both knew as soon as we walked through the doors that this was going to be an improvement on that. Bearing in mind that left you in a pit of despair for 2 weeks.
What did I say as I walked over to you? This is sweet, didn't I? I said, this is sweet.
Ian was loving it. I have to say, I'm going to give it, it's not a Leicester Forest East, but it doesn't want to be a Leicester Forest East. I think it knows its place in the food chain. And I'm going to give it a lovely little... See, I'm torn now because 6 seems like it's very harsh, but then Leicester Forest East was a 7.5, and I'll give it a 7. There we are, problem solved.
I'm going to give it an 8, so that's 7.5.
So you're equating it to Leicester Forest East.
I just think that I like it. It's different. It's got history behind it.
You've just been buggered by a massage chair.
Now they've dimmed the lights. Maybe they should have dimmed the lights before we went on the massage chair.
And lit some scented candles.
The massage chair, it's a nice touch, but it's a waste of £1. I like it. I like it very much.
Would you come back here?
Of course I would, yeah. Yeah, I'd definitely come back here. I mean, there isn't much, once again, there's not many places you can walk. By the way, we didn't play out the service station messages last time round.
No.
Reason for that is because I forgot to take them off my
Have we forgotten
phone.
again?
No, we haven't. Here are the messages.
Hello, mate. I'm sitting in the service area having a bit of a play. Well done. You do the lovely job, geezer. I laud you better than the other one. Well done, I do more.
They were good, weren't they?
How many did you get?
Don't know because I've not actually taken them off yet because this, of course...
Can we comment on them then, or should we just do generic comments?
Ooh.
What a message.
That's one of the best messages we've received.
Hey, I've just had a massage, but that message was as good as the massage. Oh yeah.
Thank you very much for your messages. We do really appreciate it. We do appreciate your call.
As shown by that shambles of an introduction and outro to it.
Yeah, well, you know, they make the podcast. In fact, the call about the old bamboo, which was meant for the other podcast that I do with that fella, Ian Lee.
Don't mention his name.
Was actually the best part of the last week's podcast. That kind of
I disagree.
massaged the podcast.
Disagree. I think it was... I think the best part of the podcast was one of the many funny quips that I made throughout it.
Of course. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention those. Okay, well, there you go. That is Donington Park Services. I've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it?
No.
Don't answer that. Just internalise that. Keep that to yourself. There's various ways you can get in touch with the podcast. This is how.
Contact the Services Podcast now by emailing theservicespodcast@gmail.com, adding us on Twitter @theservicespod, or by leaving us a message on our roadside answering machine on this number 0755 3521 558.
We've kind of bottomed out on Twitter followers. I think we've got 53 and that's it now. We had 55 but 2 left. You never update on it.
I never update my own Twitter. I just don't know what to say on it.
Oh, I've broken my molar. 5 hours later.
Dude,
I was
like
brushing
that.
my tooth and my molar came out.
Say brushing my tooth. That makes me sound like a hillbilly who's only got one tooth left. Toothy Rob.
Well, earlier on you said
my tooth and I'm going to brush it to stall.
oh look, it's broken off in my hand. I'm overpowerful with my brushing.
I better update my Twitter status.
I'm gonna hug it and squeeze it and hold it tight. Oh, it is dying. My tooth is falling out. I think you love that tooth, George, too much. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to kill you now. Good night. Hang on.
Who are you executing? Me?
Oh no, that's a giggle. That's a laugh. That's terrible.
I shall kill you through laughter.
Okay.
God, it's a dark ending. Oh,